strongly believes that she's above the laws of this country. She strongly believes. And I think she has this assurance that she is actually above the laws of this country. Because if not, I don't know why she's going on with this level of impunity. She just doesn't care. In 2012, when the Electoral Commission decided to create the 45 new constituencies, a Ghanaian citizen by name Ransford France, led by his lawyer, the respected Joe Gatti, went before the Supreme Court of Ghana with a writ and an injunction application to stop the processes leading to the creation of the 45 new constituencies, including stopping Parliament from deliberating on the CI that will create the 45 new constituencies. Look, within 2 days, a Supreme Court panel was put together, presided over by the distinguished Justice Julius Ansah. He heard the injunction application, gave a ruling within the space of 3 days, fixed the substantive matter for 4th October. That is the speed that whole matter was handled with. Today, we have been given 17th October, by which time the EC will be done with the registration process. What becomes of the process that we have found?
Well, still on the limited voter registration exercise, and barely a week after the Electoral Commission started the exercise, teething challenges associated with the process have rekindled calls for the number of registration centers to be increased. But the EC maintains that they are focused on keeping the sanctity of the register. There's more in this report.
In the face of public backlash from political parties and civil society organizations, a contempt suit and long queues at its registration centers, the Electoral Commission is still sticking to its guns to conduct the limited voters registration exercise only at its district offices. Officials have indicated that the process is to keep the sanctity of the register. For the national organizer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Joseph Yamin, the EC chairperson, Madam Jean Mensah, must call into remembrance some of her proposals in her days as a civil society advocate.
It's telling us the same story Jean Mensah stood by in 2016 when she was not the Electoral Commissioner. Then with the IEA, the EC had opened about 6,000 polling centers, but she still believed that about 3 weeks of registration, there were still a lot of people who have not had the opportunity to register, and that she was pleading that about 2 weeks more be added to the number of days so that they could register. It baffles some of us that years after her position on that, and today she is the Electoral Commissioner, will open less than 300 centers and think that 3 weeks is enough to get a lot of people registered. That is the situation we find ourselves here.
He insists that a review of the current process is the only way to ensure that there is a successful registration exercise.
Why would you subject your people into such an ordeal when you have every opportunity? If 6,000 was not enough in 2016, 6,000 cannot be enough today. So it should rather have been more. But for whatever reasons, the Mensah decides to open centers less than 300 and expect that a lot of people will come around. But you see, what we are seeing here is a sign that the people are very angry with the system. And whether Jane Mensah or the MPP likes it or not, the people will come and register and be there to vote against them come 2020.
We'll be getting more on the ongoing limited voter registration exercise in our subsequent bulletins. But to some other subjects this afternoon, and the pensioner bondholders have declared their intention not to be part of the government's fresh domestic debt exchange program for ESLA and Dachi bondholders. The convener for the pensioner bondholders, Dr. Adwena Nientri, explains that no pensioner is available to accept the government's offer. According to him, pensioners cannot be part of the newly announced offer, emphasizing that they have been exempted.
There are no kind of people who could not participate on time. We were exempted. Paragraph 6 of the Ministry of Finance's press release on the invitation also states in part as follows, quote, for new trenches, end of quote. Our response to this statement is that natural persons 59 years old and above as of 1st January 2023 who did not tender, as the government will have to wait till settlement date to be able to determine holders who did not tender their bonds before paying them their coupons and principals that became due during the offer period. You can be sure that this offer period is going to be extended. The government knows that it's going to extend it.
My colleague Christian Yali is following this story. He's joining us for some update. Christian, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. What are the reasons giving by the pensioner bondholders at this time?
Right. So let me make the point that right from the beginning of the debt exchange program, they reached an agreement with the government to be excluded or exempted from the program, which is captured in and on records. And so it is no different case right now. So far as they were exempted from the first program or the first debt exchange program, it means that they cannot be part of the current program. I have with me the convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, Dr. Edu Ananiantwi, for some explanation into some of these things. So, Joe, what actually is your concern with the new debt exchange program?
The concern is the inclusion of pensioners in the invitation. Pensioners have been completely exempted from the program. So under no circumstances should you go and invite them to come if they want to come. No, they have been exempted. So if you are doing any invitation, extend your invitation to people who on their own are holding on to their bonds, not people who have been exempted.
No, but one thing that government says in its statement is that this is exclusive to ESLA bondholders and DACHE bondholders. It doesn't mention
the government bond.
As the government
Yes.
bond, which you are part of.
Yes.
And it's a reason you are calling that you are not going to be part of it.
It's not even the reason whether government bonds or the fact that government is saying those who couldn't come, I'm offering them the opportunity to come. We are saying pensioners are not people who couldn't come. Pensioners are people who were exempted. So you can't invite us to come for any reopening negotiation or exercise.
All right. But again, Crosby, another point that they have been making here is about the fact that some of their matured coupons and principals are due for payment today. Do you expect that payment to be made today, action?
We expect the payment of coupons to be made today and principals to be made today.
Right.
Because we should not be part of that invitation. But if you are not removed from that invitation, then you will have to wait until the offer period is ended and settlement day has come before you get this money, which is supposed to be paid to you today.
Right.
Exactly
Christian, help us find out from Dr. Edu Ananiantwi on how far they're going to go to resist this.
All right. So, Doc, maybe the final question I want to ask you is that how far are you going to go with this? In case government should insist on adding you to this new debt exchange program, how do you intend to resist it?
Well, for us, we know our coupons are due. We know when they are due, and we expect it to be paid on time. Anytime a coupon is due or a principal is due for payment and is delaying, we will take it to the ministry.
So you are looking forward to protest again if government should go ahead to include you in the new debt exchange program?
Yes. We are not going to protest for the inclusion. We are going to protest for the delay of our coupons and principal because we don't want to be bothered by this opening at all.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Crosby, I have been engaging the convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, Dr. Edu Ananiantwi. Essentially, they are saying that they are not going to be part of the new debt exchange program because they are part of government bonds. Their coupons and principals are mature today, and they expect government to make payment as it is. So, yeah, the records are there, and they are not going to be part of it. If government should go ahead, they are going to protest to demand payment of what is due them. I've been speaking to you live from the CLOGSAG head office in Accra, where the Pensioner Bondholders Forum has been engaging the media.
Thank you so much, Christian Yali, for that report. To some other subjects this afternoon, and traders and squatters at Abuja CMB behind the Cocoa Board head office in Accra have begun rebuilding barely 24 hours after the fire gutted over 350 structures in the area. Emmanuel Samani went back to the scene and reports.
Traders and squatters are grappling with the arduous task of rebuilding their lives from the ashes. The scene is marked by tales of pleas for assistance and criticisms directed at the fire service for their perceived delayed response.
When we called the fire service, it took them almost 2 hours before they arrived, and so we started quenching the fire by ourselves. When they finally arrived, they had no water. They were close to us, yet they wouldn't get here on time.
As we revisited the site of the tragic incident, it was evident that the community was still reeling from the disaster. Residents, some of whom spent the night at the scene, are now attempting to piece together what's left of their homes and businesses. Charred remnants and the acrid smell of smoke bear witness to the destruction that unfolded. Many residents with weary eyes and heavy hearts are pleading with authorities to come to their aid.
We would like the government to allow us rebuild here because we have nowhere to go. This is where we work. All my things have burned. The money I used to sell is also burnt. So we would call on the government to help us.
Emmanuel Samani, TV3 News, Accra.
Now to the Ashanti region now, where family of the late Mabena, who was allegedly sexually assaulted and killed at Nyankwanta in the region, has called on the police to speed up investigations and to arrest the perpetrators of the crime. One person is currently in the custody of the police to assist with investigation. The Bekwai Municipal Security Council has called for an emergency meeting on the issue and other murder-related issues within the area in recent times. Ibrahim Abubakar joins us from the crime scene to paint a picture to us of what is happening there and what dialogue is being had at the moment. Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us. Some sad developments there, but what more can you report?
Well, Crosby, like you said, very, very sad. Just some few minutes ago, a number of family members were here and even the police to commence with investigation. Just now, we've also seen the police coming back to the scene just to make sure that they will investigate this thoroughly and get to the bottom of the matter. So currently, where the police is standing, this is exactly the spot that the lifeless body of Majua was found on Saturday, September 16, when she disappeared on Friday. So the family went in search for her on Friday, the whole night. They didn't see her. On Saturday, after they reported the matter to the police, on their way back home, they saw her lying here lifelessly. So from this uncompleted building where the scene and the incident happened to the house of Majua, and that's what you can see in the shot. It's like 20 steps away. So this is just very close to the area where the scene happened. So that is why the family is even suspecting that the crime may not have been committed here per se. Maybe it was committed elsewhere, but the perpetrators brought the body here on Saturday. So currently, you can sense some fear in the residents here. Most of them have also seen some who are even trying to find a new place, even though they've never recorded such an incident here. They said this is something that they are yet to come to terms with. And, you know, with the issue of crime here, the exact reason why the Muse is having a meeting. We are told that this is the third time we are recording strange killings within the Anyan Kwanta vicinity. Just last month, someone entered into the room of a lactating mother and stole the child and killed. They found the lifeless body of the child the following day. 2 months ago, similar incident. A mother and a son were also killed in a strange circumstances. So this is something, like I said, that has put a lot of fear in residents here. Some of her family members are here. Like I said, the police have brought them at the scene. They are talking to residents around to find out whether they saw anything fishy here. Crosby, you also mentioned one person who has been arrested. She is the friend of the deceased. We were told that on Friday, when the deceased closed from work, this friend of her told her some guys are there to pick them. So they picked them in a vehicle and they decided to bring them home. That was the last time they saw Mabina. They didn't see her again until they saw her lifeless body. So that suspicion is there. This friend is currently in the custody of the police to also assist with investigation.
Ibrahim, thank you. We'll get back to you for some more updates in the subsequent bulletins. Ibrahim Abubakar is a correspondent in the Ashanti region. To some other subjects, and away from the Ashanti region, it's been 8 years since the United Nations adopted its Sustainable Development Goals meant to improve the lives of billions by 2030. However, at the halfway mark to the deadline, the UN has warned that the world is far from achieving the SDGs, which include ending poverty, eradicating hunger, and building climate resilience, among others. Developing countries, including Ghana, are expected to amplify their calls on rich and powerful nations to do more in the fight against climate change when global leaders gather in New York for the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. TV3's Sani Abdurrahman is in New York for the meeting, and he's joining us to provide us some updates on the happenings there. Sani, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you, since you're in New York. Talk to us about the summit. What's more is happening there? We're trying to reconnect with Sani Abdurrahman, who is in New York, will bring us updates on the 78th UN session summit there happening in New York, where we understand that world leaders are converging to talk about pertinent issues relating to the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly with the issue of climate change. Also on the table will be the quest to eradicate hunger, as well as poverty and issues concerning a lot of things that affect a lot of people. We'll touch base with Sani Abdurrahman shortly, but in the meantime, the Environmental Protection Agency says it will soon clamp down on persons in the informal sector engaged in metal and battery recycling, which it says have activities polluting the environment and causing harm to humans. According to a survey, there was a widespread lead poisoning among children. Locally fabricated metal cookwares are also said to contain high concentration of lead.
Exposure to lead poisoning can cause behavioral problems. Children, the most vulnerable, experience irritation, lower IQs and slow growth. And adults with lead in their blood suffer from hypertension, stroke, infertility, among others. The Ashanti and Western regions are the worst culprits of such informal activities.
They need to stop the activities of the informal battery recyclers, because we are arguing that if even the formal ones, from what our study finds, can cause this level of pollution or poisoning, and then in this case, if we allow these informal ones to operate, when I talk about informal, we're not talking about those involved in collecting the batteries and transporting them to those recycling. We are talking about people who are in their homes.
The research also revealed that 55% of locally fabricated metal cookware tested contained a high concentration of lead, raising concerns. But the country director of Pure Earth, one of the researchers, said there is no cause for alarm and urged people to purchase the right metal cookware.
Not all local fabricated. There are some specific ones. I think we measured about 200 pots, and 77% of them actually shows that they have lead concentration above the recommended limit. We also discovered that things like ceramic cookwares have lead concentrations higher, which is concerning. But this is not to put fear into the population. We are willing to collaborate to develop standard that would actually regulate the amount of lead or neurotoxins that should be part of this manufacturing foodwares.
The executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Dr. Henry Kokofu, says his outfit will soon clamp down on persons engaged in such activities.
We're going out there in full force to identify and clamp down on these informal activities in crude manner. In your community, you suspect that some activities are going on in the area of used lead acid batteries, recycling. Please let EPA know. You come in quickly and strongly and then clamp down on them. We are not saying that you cannot do recycling on a small scale. You can, but then come under the radar of Environmental Protection Agency.
He said the EPA will collaborate with all stakeholders to ensure the menace is eliminated or reduced to the barest minimum. The experts stressed the need for blood level testing as the mortality rate is worrying.
Away from that, commuters traveling from Wa in the Upper West region to the southern part of the country have to spend more hours using the Sola Damango-Fufulsu Junction Highway following Saturday dusk to dawn downpour that washed off portions of the Sola Bola Tichiman Highway. The commuters have also been compelled to pay high transport costs due to the use of the alternative route. Alternative arrangements have also been made for the people of Bole and surrounding communities to be able to travel to Kumasi and Accra. Now, a downpour in the northern part of the country on Saturday, September 16 through to Sunday, September 17, washed away the Dolly Bridge, cutting off the Bole to Saula Road. Portions of the Tamale, Salaga, Mankango Highway and the Salaga Kito roads have also been flooded. Joining us for an update is our correspondent Christopher Amwako. Chris, thank you for joining us on the program. What is the situation today? We understand commuters could not access the road and traveling was near impossible. Chris, if you can hear me, what I'm asking for is updates of the situation, as we understand that commuters were almost unable to move from that part of the country to other parts. We'll try and reconnect with Sani Abdul Rahman. Sani, can you hear me? Christopher Marco, can you hear me? Unfortunately, we'll get back to Christopher Marco for updates on the situation in the northern part of the country. But let's go back to an earlier story where we understand it's been 8 years since the United Nations adopted its Sustainable Development Goals meant to improve the lives of billions by 2030. However, at the halfway mark to the deadline, the UN has warned that the world is far from achieving the SDGs, which include ending poverty, eradicating hunger, and building climate resilience, among others. Developing countries, including Ghana, they are expected to amplify their calls on rich and powerful nations to do more in the fight against climate change. When global leaders gather in New York for the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. TV3 Sani Abdul Rahman is in New York for the meeting. He's joining us to provide us some updates. Sani, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon to you from Ghana. Good morning to you in New York. But what is the situation there? Talk to us about the summit. Unfortunately, we cannot connect with Sani Abdul Rahman there. We'll try and rework the connections with Sani Abdul Rahman in New York on the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. But in the meantime, some assembly members in the country, they are demanding remuneration instead of the allowances currently paid to them. This, together with adequate resources, they believe will make them effective and accountable to their electorates.
The Local Government Act of 1993, Act 462, establishes the various local government structures. Per the structure, assembly members work with unit committees to facilitate development at the community level. Section 16 of the Local Government Act further requires them to maintain close contact with their electoral areas, consult the people on issues to be discussed at the district assembly, and collate their views, opinions, and proposals. But for years, some assembly members, particularly those who serve in deprived districts, have not been able to deliver on their mandate due to lack of resources.
Whatever will go on your community, they will see an assemblyman. But there's no any income coming in the pocket of the assemblyman.
In some communities, communal activities and engagement have not been possible. This is because the 5% component of the District Assembly Common Fund, which is to finance community-initiated projects, is not released on time.
Gone are the days that our assembly is a voluntary work, but this time around it's more than a full-time job. You'll be there, somebody will call you. At the same time, somebody will call you at Impoase. At the same time, somebody will call you at exhibition.
Assembly members remain the only category of elected persons who are not remunerated for their services. But what could be the push factor for people to go into local politics?
I realized there were a lot of things we can do to develop Tetegu, but those things are not coming. I don't know. We have leaders, but we don't have voice. So I'm coming in not because of the benefits that I will get in person. So that is what I'm bringing on board to make sure that we emancipate ourselves from this kind of underdevelopment in the community.
The Municipal Chief Executive for Korle Klottey, Nii Adjetewia, wants the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to initiate processes towards the improvement of assembly members' welfare so they can deliver on their mandate.
The resources needed should be made available at the local level for this to happen.
The Electoral Commission has set December 19 for the 2023 District Assembly elections across the country.
You're watching Midday Live on TV3. My name is Noble Crosby, and we're back with more stories after this break. Please stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Get ready to experience a night of divine worship and celebration like never before. It's the 60th edition of the Bernard Amankwa Celebration of His Grace concert. This year, it's all about my offering a heartfelt tribute of praise and thanksgiving to the Almighty. Join us as we gather at the National Theatre on Sunday, the 24th of September, 2023 at 6 p.m. Ministering on the night, Perez Music, Niso, Michael Kessie, Iona Renee, Jayana, the man Bernard Amankwa, and the Presence Band. Admission is absolutely free. Come, let's celebrate His grace together. For more information, call 0554 074 766. See you on Sunday, September 24th at the National Theatre at 6 p.m. Be there as we joyfully lift our voices and offerings to the heavens in unison. Sponsors InnoLink, FlexiClay, Reroy, New Professionals, Innovate, Controlite, Specialize. Media partners TV3, Onia FM, Onia TV.
Are you ready to win solid cash every day with Cash Out? Be a proud winner of lots of cash simply by watching or listening to any of Media General stations. That's right, you are being rewarded for your loyalty. Tune in to all Media General brands. TV3, 3FM 92.7, Onia TV, Onia FM 95.1, all in Accra, Akuma FM 87.9 in Kumasi, and Connect FM 97.1 in Takoradi. To enter the Cash Out raffle on your favorite Media General station, just dial *439#. Follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform to enter. Voila! You are now eligible to become one of the 10 lucky winners of a cool cash prize. Remember, this is every day, all day on your favorite Media General station. Cash out and win big! This is in partnership with Radio Entertainment Limited. This promo is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply.
From the heart of our nation to your screens, we present Ghana's Most Beautiful, a show that brings forth the stories, dreams, and aspirations of remarkable young ladies. Every episode unfolds a new chapter of discovery as our delegates immerse themselves in the culture, history, and spirit of their regions. From thrilling challenges to heartwarming moments, witness their transformative journey to become the next Ghana's Most Beautiful Queen. GMB 2023, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco,
Frutelli Calipo,
Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubuna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Let's now touch base again with Sani Abdulrahman in New York to bring us updates on the 78th session of the UN General Assembly, where developing countries, including Ghana, they are expected to amplify their calls on rich and powerful nations to do more in the fight against climate change, as well as ending global hunger and poverty. Sani, good afternoon. If you can hear me, talk to us about the 78th session of the General Assembly. What are we to expect today?
Well, good morning from my side here. It's still around 8:30 in the morning. The Sustainable Development Goals Summit is coming off this morning. Very important event for the United Nations and the world. It happens once every 4 years, and basically it looks at ways that developing nations plus developed nations can address some of the issues facing the climate. I'm referring to climate change effect that we have seen around the world, the floods, the droughts, and all the devastations it is causing to developing nations more especially. So this morning, that important occasion will come off. President Akufo-Addo would be in attendance, and it's more or less like a litmus test for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who will want to rally support from the rich and powerful nations to ensure that the right thing is done to address the climate challenges. We know we are 7 years away from the implementation deadline for the Sustainable Development Goals. The world hasn't done a lot in terms of achieving the goals that were set in 2015. And this is quite a troubling development for the United Nations. There was some sort of achievement and some sort of progress prior COVID-19 and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But we know these global twin events have caused a setback in terms of the development achieved and the progress made. And certainly the UN will want to see an acceleration in terms of the effort, in terms of the commitment towards the implementation of the SDGs this morning when they meet global leaders.
Sani, thank you. We'll join you again in a subsequent bulletins for happenings in New York. There, Sani Abdurrahman is in New York, bringing us updates on the 78th UN General Assembly there. Now, a downpour in northern Ghana on Saturday, September 16 through to Sunday, September 17, washed away the Dolly Bridge, cutting off the Bole to Sola Road. Portions of the Tamale Salaga Mankango Highway and the Salaga Kito Road have also been flooded. But let's get updates from Christopher Mwako, who is a correspondent in the region, on the updates on the situation after the downpour. Christopher, can you hear me? Good afternoon to you. What is the situation today, as commuters could not access the road and traveling was close to impossible? Christopher, if you can hear me, what I'm asking for is updates of the situation there.
Yes, so currently as it stands, commuters are still stranded because they will have to use other alternative routes to be able to access the southern parts of the country, and those coming from the southern part will also to use same alternative routes to be able to access the Sola and upper west regions. And this is actually affecting economic activity. Since yesterday, those who were transporting their goods from Wa, for instance, to the southern parts of the country could not do so. They had to get back to Sola. Then they will turn to Damango to the Fufuso Junction. So Crosby is actually a cause of worry, and the Highways Authority has also indicated that they will come and do their preliminary assessment of the extent of damage caused at the particular bridge and find ways of addressing the issue within the shortest possible time.
Chris, thank you so much. We'll get back to you in our subsequent bulletins for more updates on the situation in the northern part of the country. Watching Midday Live on TV3 Business News is up next. Welcome back to the broadcast. Manu Afol is joining us for business. Manu, what's in the package?
So Treasury bills has been undersubscribed by about 11%, and the target for the upcoming auction has also been lowered. We have the details coming up now.
Over to you.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the business segment. My name is Manu Afol. We'll start off with government's Treasury bills, as they were undersubscribed by about 11%, falling short of its target of 3.76 billion cedis. Interest rates, however, have soared slightly above 32%, now hovering around 32.17%. Market watchers attribute the undersubscription to the overly large target relative to recent weeks. The following news desk report has more. At the end of the auction, government realized about 3.35 billion cedis, although it targeted about 3.76 billion cedis. All bids tendered for the short-term securities were accepted. For the one-year bill, however, government accepted 248.36 million, although bids tendered amounted to 252.42 million cedis. Government secured bids worth about 2.6 billion from the 91-day bill and 496.95 million cedis from the 182-day bill. Interest rates for the 364-day bill hit 32.17% from 31.97% previously. For the 182-day bill also, interest rates is currently at 29.39%, whereas that of the 91-day bill rose to 28.12% from 27.78% the previous week. By missing the Treasury targets, government failed to meet its refinancing obligations for the week, which was about 3.51 billion cedis. Market watchers attribute the undersubscription to government's ambitious targets relative to demands on the market. In the upcoming auction, government seeks to raise about 2.59 billion cedis from the 91, 182 and 364-day bills. And away from that, CEO of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, has suggested government uses the windfall from the upstream petroleum sector to cushion consumers at the local pumps. His suggestion comes in the wake of continuous increase in the price of Brent crude oil on the commodities market. Brent crude oil is now selling at about $94 per barrel.
Oil prices going up in the international scene is not totally a bad thing per se. But it's something that will contend to our advantage. Of course, we operate both upstream and downstream. And once oil prices are going up, bear in mind, upstream side we're going to have a lot of profit raining in. If you notice our media budget, we had to reduce what the potential going to earn from crude oil to around 70s. Now oil price around 90s. All projections are that it could persist, and if it's going to drop, it's going to drop in the later 80s from now till the end of the year. So we need to put in proactive measures. That will mean that we'll have some bit of windfalls. So what we call on is the government to come up with a cogent strategy to create a credible conduit that some of these windfalls we can cascade it back to the downstream. And doing that is not just only to help the consumer, but is to help tame down inflationary pressures. Due to the fact that when pump prices are going up, there will be so much inflationary pressures.
In more stories, Governor of Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has charged banks to be transparent in financial transactions. This, he noted, is crucial for improving confidence in the banking industry. Transparency for consumers includes proper disclosure of bank fees and the interest rates charged by credit card companies.
Banks must protect and promote transparency in financial transactions and decision-making. Individuals must be held accountable for their actions and decisions, and unethical conduct must be promptly addressed and rectified. Banks must incorporate sustainability and responsible banking principles into their operations. ESG considerations must be factored into investment and lending decisions to promote long-term economic and social stability. Here, I will take this opportunity to encourage banks to ensure compliance with the Ghana Sustainable Banking Principles. Banks should strictly adhere to the regulatory requirements and collaborate with regulators to maintain a strong and well-regulated financial industry supported by higher ethical standards.
That's it for Business on Midday Live. My name is Menuafo. Stay with us. We have more updates from sports right after the break.
Ready for another cultural explosion like never before. On 21st September, Africa will witness an ultimate celebration of African diversity and flavor at the 3FM Afro Connect event. This is the place to experience the magic of African arts and creativity. You also get to unite in a sizzling jollof war competition, igniting a culinary showdown. Will Côte d'Ivoire hold the jollof war title? So whether you're passionate about food, art, games, or simply making new connections, 3FM Afro Connect event on the 21st of September is the place to be. Venue, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. To sell, call 053-220-0927. 3FM Afro Connect, connecting Africa and beyond. Brought to you by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. Sponsored by Tasty Tom, ECG Power App, Festival, Mega 6 Lotto, Accel Washing Powder.
Hey! What do you do with some cool $2,000? Okay. Dare to Win game show is exactly what you need. It's the only game show where you are already rich before you begin to pay. Every week, 2 lucky people stand the chance of winning money. All you have to do is go through some quizzes and fun games. Somebody from Peru is called Perusian. Whatever you say, you have to be proud because your family people are watching you. Somebody from Madagascar is called Malagasy. Correct!
Okay, let's go, let's go.
It's you that will tell me let's go. You are not even winning.
Okay. Hold the stand and gentle basting.
Amazing.
5.
Jump go.
Ayikwe Ama. Be proud. First of all, is Ayikwe supposed to be a man or a woman? Put it on your forehead. Ayikwe. Be a part of this game show right here on TV3 and take home some cash. Oh my God! Come join us on Here to Win game show where you win it all. Hey, ya mama! Hey, mama! Hey, ya mama! Hey, mama! Here to Win!
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Kill It Insecticide Spray.
Gino Tomato Mix.
I'm a hero from zero to hero.
Many with great voices have taken their chance on the biggest music reality show on screen.
Rap na kasa be my career. Iti Mr. found to my mediano na yamba pesi kakeda bi na yen.
Some stood out with their lyrical abilities and style. Mentor is back. The search is on. Who becomes the next winner? Mentor, the world awaits you.
The age-old rivalry that senior high schools engage in is still present within alumni. The battle for bragging rights to a particular endeavor remains even after school. If your school can cook, it means your school is here. If your school can boast of good culinary masterminds, this right here is the perfect platform to showcase that skill set. Alumni have met and they have chosen representatives to take up the task of preparing extraordinary dishes to bring victory to their respective schools.
Tell me what you're cooking.
Week in, week out, these schools will mount these workstations in a bid to buy your nutritional affinity to them. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your taste buds and fasten your aprons. These culinary experts are set to battle for the enviable crown of being tagged Lords of the Kitchen. This is Kitchen Wars Season 2.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix.
And Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye ono soko.
PGL. Yeso no aye manya to say so manya. And aye chaka to say chakademos. Otoka bi belonche yen.
Delay. Nani nyina for fame. No.
Seriously? Ebi singe no kre because almost so brofo nye prempe brofo.
Brofo e disi kaba na meka. Anya brofo hu bi asa na meka.
It will call public restroom who used to male and female ladies. And don't you think yes I will violate Emma because you have a male sex organ but you are using the ladies?
Oh, tell me and follow me.
What a word you know wo a putoy and you need delay wo a putoy. Asasemuni.
The Delay Show now shows on Sundays at 6 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Vodafone, Safari Tissues, Pepsodent, Yas Sanitary Pad, Delay Foods, Tabia Takum, Greatfield Ventures, Alisa Hotel.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Sports News is up next. Uriku Kwampo bring us the latest in sport. Uriku, what's in the package?
Well, thank you very much. We'll be starting with reigning Ghana Premier League champions Mediama SC, who defeated Horoya FC 3-1 in Sunday on the first leg of the second preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. Let's take a look at the highlights of the game. Still on Mediama's win over Horoya, head coach of the Moving Yellows, Evans Adote, was full of praise for his opponents.
I said the other time, especially when we met at the pre-conference, this question came up, and then I did say, if Atinga is not there, we need a replacement. I'm one coach who always wants to create competition within the team or among the players. So if Atinga is gone, definitely there's someone to step in his shoes. And you saw it happen today.
On to some more stories where Asante Kotoko started the new campaign with a disappointing goalless draw at the Babayara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. Despite aspirations for a better season after finishing fourth last campaign, the Porcupine Warriors failed to secure a victory in their opening game. The visitors, as House of Lions, had a goal controversially ruled out for offside by the assistant referee and frustrated the host throughout the encounter. Kotoko head coach Prosper Ogumnate was unhappy with his team's output in the final third, whilst House of Lions coach Fatau Salifu was pleased with the point.
Couldn't hold on to that, but again, see what I did?
Yeah, I think it was the final connections when we got to the final third, where we had to be calm, look at the spaces, and then connect with teammates there. I think we were in a rush anytime we got to the final third. Apart from that, I think we played well defensively. We looked very compact. We were able to progress from defense to the midfield to attack, which was good. And this is our first game, so I think as time goes on, we'll find our rhythm. It was a good game for me.
Well, of course, when you are playing a team like Kotoko, of course, you should deploy tactics that you'll be able to hold them, especially when you are playing them in Kumasi, of course. So I think we came with the tactics either to pick 3 points away from them or a point. So I think that, of course, the next game we'll be playing at home will be a different tactics, of course, and we need the 3 points at home.
To some athletics now, where Sweden's Armand Duplantis needed just one attempt at 6.23 meters, a centimeter higher than his own. His legs just managed to scrape the bar on the way over, causing it to wobble, but stay.
He loves this venue, does Mondo Duplantis. A year ago, 14 months ago, a world record to win. Really good start there from Kenny Harrison. Camacho Quinn looking strong too. So is Williams. Danielle Williams with the lead at the moment. Applying the pressure from the rest and trying to come back at her, but they're not going to catch her this time. She takes it there. Camacho Quinn in second place, and the winning time 12.32. It's another super fast time. Well, world record attempt from Mondo Duplantis. The bar.
Well, that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Midday Live. My name is Ori Kwampofo. Up next is entertainment.
Welcome to the entertainment segment of the bulletin. And 10 weeks into the GMB competition, and the ladies are ready to put on a show. Themed Today's Woman, all 9 lovely ladies took turns to address various issues a woman of today faces and possible solutions to solving them. Unfortunately, Afriye and Sangsuma had to bid farewell to the competition as they faced eviction.
Not just as an advocate, and as someone who has personally felt the weight of a mental health challenge.
It's another beautiful week on Ghana's Most Beautiful, and tonight the focus is on challenges young women face in our society. So be it drug abuse, be it teenage pregnancy, societal pressure, and our ladies will be shedding light on these societal issues and how to overcome it.
But don't worry, gone are the days where women were not allowed to speak for themselves. Listen, today's woman is assertive. Our voice is our weapon.
So other contestants, including Nura, Sangsuma, Afriye, Kwatima, they were awesome when it comes to their performances, and in general, it was a good night for our ladies.
I wanted to belong and fit in, so I sought validation in my peers at school. And so when my friend Amma said she had a special substance that would make me feel confident, be a cool kid, and even improve my grades, I easily gave in. Amma.
As all was said and done, our star performer was Sewa from the Western region, and she highlighted the pressure when it comes to dark-skinned women having to lighten their skin or bleach their skin to look like their peers. And that is what won her the Star Performer Award.
But know that we are all super proud of you. You made the show great tonight, and I applaud all of you. So the winner is the first to walk on the stage tonight.
Sewa!
And that is Sewa. Well done.
Wow! That part we all do not like. Eviction came around, and 2 of our ladies had to say goodbye to the competition. Unfortunately, Efrie from the Eastern region and Sangsama from the Upper West region had their journey cut short in the competition. And tonight can inarguably be tagged as one of the saddest episodes when it comes to GMB 2023, because the eviction hit us so hard and our judges could not even put themselves together when it came to saying goodbye to these 2 beautiful ladies. But from all of us, we can only wish them well in their future endeavors. Let's now hear from our star performer, Sewa.
Looking at my colleagues or my friends who are leaving, it's quite sad. Now, bonding with them in the house and their performances as well too. Every Sunday they put out their best thing. The vote didn't help them, but then I wish them well and I love them so much.
You were extremely shocked when you were even mentioned that you were part of the top ladies for the Star Performer Award. Why were you so shocked?
I did. After the performance, actually, I came back to cry. Yes, I came back to cry, and I told my people they will see me home. Because looking at the performances that followed, and I wasn't expecting it. Yes, that was why I was really shocked.
An African woman, mother of nature.
Well, that's your entertainment, Seb. Let's bring you some international news now.
The government in Congo Brazzaville has denied reports of an attempted coup against President Denis Sassou, who has been in power for 39 years. It follows rumors on social media that the military had been trying to oust the 79-year-old, who is currently in the U.S. attending a UN summit with other world leaders. The government denies this as fake news. Information Minister Thierry Mongala posted on X, formerly Twitter, on Sunday, saying he wanted to reassure members of the public that they could go about the activities calmly. The government's website also posted a statement denying the coup attempt reports. There has been a wave of coups across Africa in recent months, most recently in neighboring Gabon, where the military seized power in August.
Well, that's how we draw the curtains on Midday Live this afternoon, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. My name is Noble Crosby-Allen. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for watching the bulletin. We'll see you again some other time. Good afternoon. Bye-bye.